Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video where today we return with round 9 of season 4 of our F1 22 My Team career mode. Yesterday we head out to the streets of Azerbaijan. If you missed out on the last video from Monaco that went live on Monday, I would highly recommend going back and checking out, of course, the duel in the Formula 1 crown. A rather interesting race, whether for better or for worse. Of course, there will be spoilers in just a moment, so that is your warning before we jump into this one. But quickly as well, I just want to say a massive thank you to all of you for the continued support. You know, we're getting right towards the end now of 2022. 100k isn't quite going to happen. But, you know, if you're watching this and you haven't clicked that big red button, it would be greatly appreciated if you did so down below. But yeah, so we head, though, in towards the Azerbaijan Grand Prix this weekend. You can see Alpine and Red Bull both still bringing the upgrades at the moment. Red Bull, yeah, brought some upgrades between Spain and Monaco. Alpine, you know, have just been slowly but surely bringing up the pace over the course of the year. And, of course, you can see there, yep, Monaco last time out, the first time this year we have finished second in a race this season. Means the gap at the top of the table has opened up to 11 points to our teammate George Russell there. Ocon still in P3 ahead of Charles Leclerc and Théo Pourchaire, who, yeah, doing a fantastic job with his new team over at Red Bull. But let's get into it, though. Azerbaijan Grand Prix this weekend should theoretically be quite a good track for our car, but we need to beat George. Well, here we are then, back in Azerbaijan. BAKU, of course, the F1 My Team career mode has once again caught up with the Haas Road to Glory, but I might moan about the qualifying sim runs. However, there is definitely a problem as well with the track optimization laps later on in career mode. Of course, we all know what happens when you get the last brakes upgrade on F1 22. It does completely change around what you can do with the brakes, but it also means, for whatever weird reason, that because you can't apply the brakes as hard, you actually have to brake earlier into the corners, and of course, yeah, you just can't adjust to that on the track optimization laps. There's no way around it as such, so it means every corner I'm having to brake early, and we still therefore cannot pick up purple scores around this lap. Through some of the higher speed stuff and the corners where you're just sort of lifting and coasting, it's absolutely fine, but yeah, still a few minor tweaks and adjustments desperately needs to be made, but I think we've known for at least the last couple of games that the final brake upgrade is well and truly broken. Across the line, though, that's only going to be green. Now, I'm hardly going to try and claim I'm Daniel Ricciardo or anything like that. I'm certainly not a master of the late breakers, but it just doesn't really make sense. I feel like those need to be based on delta, rather than you've got to be either a certain amount of speed into a corner or braking at a certain point. It just feels like it needs a bit of tweaking still. We wind our way, though, into Sector 3 Fuel Sim Run, about to come to an end. Fingers crossed this one can try and get back up towards the purple score there. Of course, yeah, we still know just how quick this car is down the straights on F1 22. Just got to bring back the delta first of all, and then hopefully we can lift and coast up towards the line there as we get it back in the green. Not quite going to be able to get purple today. We're going to lift, though, towards the line. It is going to be 2 green scores before we jump into qualifying. Well, some of you might remember last weekend I said I was a bit worried that Monaco might be where our winning streak comes to an end on F1 22. We're up to, I think, 12 Grand Prix in a row between us as a team. BAKU, though, that has become an even bigger worry. Neither George Russell or myself have been able to go fastest so far in qualifying. Red Bull and Alpine have really upped the pace as we head into this weekend, and to be honest, I've really just lacked pace all weekend so far. Barely snuck through into Q3, but I feel like there is still a lot of ultimate pace in the car. We're just trying to get it all extracted as we head through the final couple of turns. Though, to finish off my first run, I've actually had to do it on an old set of tyres because we had no new set. Well, we've got one new set, of course, ready for Q3, but didn't want to waste it first time round there, and it hasn't been a particularly brilliant lap either. 1:39.2. That's going to put us 10th a long way off, but both Red Bulls have not nailed their laps either. And just to show the extent of our troubles then this weekend, George Russell is only in P5 at the moment, 8/10ths down behind Esteban Ocon. It looks like most cars, though, have finished off their final runs. We've got yellow flags out for one of the Red Bulls. Although this sadly not going to peel back into the pit lane. But Russell and I are going on our last ditch attempts. We need to find a lot. Heading out the final corner then, that's been a pretty good run through the final couple of turns. Lap has actually felt pretty hooked up here. It's definitely not going to be pole position, but where are we going to line up on the grid? Ready for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. George Russell will only stay in P6 there. We should go quicker than our teammate, but where are we going to be on the grid? It's going to be a 38.0 P4. I hate the fact that's a really, really good result for us. There we go then, Esteban Ocon makes it 2 poles in the last 3 Grand Prix for Alpine. They are certainly getting very, very close to their first Formula 1 Grand Prix win there, but, well, first Formula 1 Grand Prix win in the My Team career mode. Bottas P2, another fantastic result there from the Flying Finn. Charles Leclerc just 9 thousandths of a second clear of myself there, but 4th and 7th on the grid for 212 Motorsport. We have really got to find something extra. Let's get into it, Azerbaijan Grand Prix.
Good afternoon and welcome from Baku. This was the arena, if you think back to 2017, of one of the most eventful races of modern history, with controversy behind the safety car, last-second overtakes, and a historic podium for Williams and for Lance Stroll. Let's find out what lies in store for us this year. It's time for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. So with the race not far away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. A fantastic effort from Esteban Ocon yesterday, and it's put him on pole. And Valtteri Bottas will line up alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Leclerc, Mr. Monaco, Daniel Ricciardo, and Russell, Joe, Perez, Théo Pourchaire, and Yuki Tsunoda, Gasly, Oscar Piastri, Lance Stroll and Latifi, Daruvala, Norris, Felipe Drugovich and Alex Albon, Magnussen, Ticktum, Schwartzman and Mick Schumacher. And now it's time to head down to the track.
Okay, now that we've got some good points on the board, let's continue this form and aim for another top 10 finish.
Right, well, here we are then, lining up on the grid for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, and this one really does feel like a bit of a step into the unknown today. It's not often we've been off the pace, really, in pretty much an entire season of F1 My Team, but Alpine have ramped it up. Red Bull should have been a lot higher than 9th and 10th there. They both butchered their final qualifying runs, so they were certainly going to be threats towards the front of the field here. Ferrari, McLaren, everyone seems to have brought the pace this weekend there, and 212 Motorsport on a track I thought we'd be really strong at. It might not be as plain sailing as we'd originally thought. Let's just try and get a good start. Of course, the big focus still is George Russell. You know, we have got such a huge advantage over Esteban Ocon unless he starts just absolutely dominating Grand Prix. It's still, you know, hopefully, is going to be a title fight between myself and our teammates. Well, Esteban Ocon has got the weight on his shoulders at the moment. Their first ever pole position in Formula 1 for the young Frenchman. Can he convert it into his second ever Formula 1 race victory there? Alpine have had such a strong start to this year. Ocon has often been the thorn in our side as well at the top of this sport. Of course, the last couple of weekends we've had a couple of incidents and issues with the Frenchman. That is certainly not how you line up on the grid here in Baku. I don't think you'll ever see Lewis Hamilton or anyone else do that as they try to line up.
Okay, incredible parking.
I don't know how we got purple there. It went red, it went purple, it went red, it went purple, but somehow it's allowed it, and that might be the best possible position you can get for a start here in Baku. Waiting on the 5 red lights though to kickstart this Grand Prix. Lights out and away we go, and actually not a bad start there as we head down in towards turn 1. Just going to try and hold it on the apex, and you know what, we haven't lost a single spot. I will absolutely take it there as reigning world champion Bottas looks straight to the lead in towards turn 2. There's shades of Barcelona just a couple of weekends ago. Why warn me about that now, Mark? Let's just get on with it early on in this GP as Ocon back around the outside of the flying Finn as we head down in towards turn 3 there. Will it be the Finn? Will it be the Frenchman? It looks like Ocon is still able to hang on there, and we're trying to apply some pressure to Charles Leclerc just behind. All contact as Bottas will hold firm there around the outside of Esteban Ocon, and for the second time in 3 Grand Prix then Bottas will jump an Alpine on the opening lap of a Grand Prix there and move into the front spot once more. Why is Mark telling me this now? Why didn't he warn me this after free practice? Hopefully we won't have any mechanical issues this weekend, as it looks like our teammate George Russell has gone backwards though off the start there. Certainly has dropped down behind Sergio Perez. It must have had an absolute blinder there from 9th, I think it was provisionally on the grid. But as we wind our way through the Old Town for the first time this afternoon, Bottas, of course, we know he's capable of winning Grand Prix. He's got about 20 now in Formula 1 when you consider, you know, if this started from the real life start of 2022 and 2 World Championships to go alongside it there. It's not been a bad couple of years for the McLaren man. This season has certainly been a bit rough, a bit, well, not quite what McLaren would have wanted, but Bottas still will fight for every opportunity he possibly can there, as we've got Daniel Ricciardo waiting in the wings. Look at that Ferrari! Where's that top end speed come from? Daniel Ricciardo set sail on the run back down towards turn 1 there, and maybe now I can see why we're struggling so much for pace this weekend. We have not got the quick car I once thought we did, as Ricciardo really sits on the apex through turn 1, but we're down to 5th place then by the end of lap 1. We have got a mountain to climb. It looks like George Russell has been able to pick off Sergio Perez back behind us then, so we're running 5th and 6th in this Grand Prix. I don't think genuinely we've ran 5th and 6th so far this season in my team. I'd actually love to know just how few laps we haven't led this season so far as a team, because normally one of us is dominating, if not the other there. But yeah, we've got to try and stay close to Daniel Ricciardo out through that final far chicane. Look at that, George Russell now starting to close in as well. I know I often run a bit high downforce than a lot of the other cars around us in F122 my team. It's just the way to be fast at the moment. But Bottas there are 40.9, and we're in the 42s. We've got to try and get the DRS on Ricciardo and hope it can slingshot us back within range of Charles. But Ricciardo definitely struggling a little bit at the moment as we head down the hill in towards the final couple of turns. Can we try and get a run on the Australian out of the final corner? Unfortunately, all this is doing is really backing us up into our teammate George Russell as we head out of the final corner. Of course, we are still teammates, but there is definitely a rivalry starting to form myself and our fellow Brit there, as I'm trying to look for 9th gear. Certainly not going to find that, but we will wave goodbye to Daniel Ricciardo as we head back down towards someone there. But look at how little we're able to get in front of him there, as that is late on the brakes at turn 1. So late, in fact, we locked up the rears trying to put the power down on the exit, and Ricciardo will say thank you very much. He'll rattle over the curb in though. We're still going to be drag racing out of turn 3 here, and George Russell is now waiting for a golden opportunity here as Ricciardo is going to sail past me. George Russell's going to try and look for the move as well. We're going to try and get back around the outside of the Australian, and we will just about do so there. We had to try it, otherwise we were going to lose another place. There's more contact between myself and Ricciardo, but we will now move back up into P4. However, that has given the top 3 an absolutely mammoth lead. Ricciardo there, just a little bit of a slip up through the first couple of corners is allowing him to break free just a bit more. And now we might be out of the DRS range for good. Got to try and get away from him and George. But yeah, the gap at the front is just opening up more and more. They are just dragging each other along. And Bottas is an animal Perez apparently struggling then, as the gap to Charles Leclerc now starting to go back in the right direction just a little bit. I reckon Ricciardo and Russell are having a tea party behind us, the amount of time they've lost. But we've just got to try and push on, focus on our own race here. We need a miracle. It feels, honestly, at the moment, it's giving me Malaysia 2015 vibes. You guys have been a Formula 1 fan for that long. Of course, you'll remember Sebastian Vettel won that race for Ferrari, and it was the first time in, well, over a year, of course, then, that Mercedes have been actually outpaced by another team, of course. I know they lost 3 Grand Prix in 2014, but all of those had other mitigating circumstances. But that was kind of the step into the unknown for Mercedes, because they really didn't know whether Ferrari then were going to be threats week in, week out throughout the entirety of 2015. In the end, of course, Sebastian Vettel did snag a couple more victories, but wasn't quite meant to be that year. But Bottas, Ocon, Charles Leclerc, they are our 7 Malaysia 2015 drivers at the moment, trying to push 2-2 Motorsport back from the stratosphere. Oh, got a safety car. I can't see anyone that's gone off. No one's retired, but we are absolutely going to have to box now. Hard tyres to the end of the Grand Prix. There are none of the top 3 have been able to get into the pit lane there, so this might be the tables turning when we absolutely need it here in Baku. So we're going to box in. Ricciardo's pitted in behind me. Teo Porcher's in as well. I can't see anyone. Oh, unless it's Zhou Guanyu and Nicholas Latifi at the rear of the field that have had an incident, but no one's retired from this Grand Prix. That was a completely unexpected safety car. Where are we going to go? Where are we going to re-emerge in this Grand Prix? It's going to be just behind Kevin Magnussen. We're still in P8, but we've definitely lost a lot. And now we've got a lot of work to do. But it's only a fairly short-lived safety car then here from Baku, but 17 laps to go, and it is now Bottas who is controlling the pace once again. We need to try and get around Kevin Magnussen, but of course now we've got a bit more flexibility when it comes to strategy later on. If we don't feel these hards are working, we can then bolt on another set of mediums when everyone else boxes, but we have to try and get around this Aston Martin as quickly as possible here, as Kevin not really keeping up with the cars in front of him. Now it's going to be green flag racing them, and look at that immediately as we cross the start-finish line. We're going to get to the inside of the Aston there, make sure we don't go into the back of Lando Norris, but that's one car instantly navigated then, and we will let, hopefully, Kevin Magnussen defend from all those cars behind us. Ocon, though, instantly as well on the offensive on Valtteri Bottas. He got jumped at the start, but now Ocon is really trying to put the hammer down on Valtteri Bottas there, to the outside, in towards turn 3, as we almost go into the back of Ocon's teammate there, and Ocon has done it, back into the lead of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. One Alpine will make a spot, the other one's going to lose one, as we get up the inside of Lando Norris there through the next couple of turns. 2 places made up on this safety car restart. We cannot complain about that, but we've just got to try and stay close to all these cars, and now, of course, monitor the tyre wear towards the end of this race. This could be the ultimate saviour for our win streak today, but we've got to keep our head down. I'm only just realising this now, because of course we don't tend to see the Mercedes much in Season 4 of this career mode, but we have got a very, very similar design scheme to that Merc. We've got the red on the back of the rear wing. We've got a mainly silver car. Have we just got Mercedes 2.0? I'd always wanted this to be sort of Vodafone McLaren vibes, but apparently not. We're going to start seeing cars into the pits then as we come towards the end of lap 11. It really has mixed up the field in this race, and Esteban Ocon has done a mighty effort to get back round Valtteri Bottas. He's not going to pin into the pits just yet. Everyone opted to hang out just a little bit longer, perhaps until we wait for the DRS to be re-enabled, but I think now, in the net Grand Prix, it's myself, Ricciardo, and I think Teo Porcher that are running in the top 3. This race has absolutely been flipped upside down in a way that only really you tend to find at Baku. Oh! Thanks, Pierre. Oi! Sorry. I mean, we say thank you, we apologise, but with whatever's happened, we pulled off a move there on Pierre Gasly. Small lock-up down at turn 3, and I just wish Ocon had done that last weekend. Here we go, everyone now starting to peel into the pit lane. George Russell is going to stay out there as well as Esteban Ocon, but Charles Leclerc, Valtteri Bottas both into the pits, so they're going to be right down towards the rear of the field. So effectively now, we've got half a Grand Prix to hold off a pit stop advantage over all these other cars. They're going to be on the same tyres as me. They are going to be a fair bit fresher, But we've now got a 2-second lead over Daniel Ricciardo as well. Teo Porcher, like I said, running in a net P3. Hopefully we can try and get the DRS off George Russell, try and hang close with our teammate. We never know how much of this time will still count there, as Charles Leclerc has, I think, jumped Lando Norris through the pits. Sorry, not Lando Norris, Valtteri Bottas, of course. Still, some old habits die hard. We haven't quite been able to stay within the DRS of George Russell, but that was more just me making a bit of a mistake, rather than our teammate having a load of extra pace on those hard tyres, as Ocon and Russell wheel peel into the pits. We are going to retake the lead of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix halfway through this race. And now we have got Daniel Ricciardo 2 seconds back. If it was the other Ferrari, I'd be a bit more worried. Teo Porcher, though, is starting to close in on Ricciardo. I said, Red Bull, they had some very good pace on Saturday. They just butchered their final qualifying runs. Teo Porcher might not be out of this, for real. Oh, we've got another safety car.
It looks like there's a high amount of debris on the track.
Ocon's out at the Grand Prix, and I think he's caused a roadblock. Right, okay, well, let's have a look at this. Ocon trying to look around the outside of one of the Alfa Romeos down at the end of Sector 2 there, and you can just see, not going to get any room on the outside there. A massive collision between Ocon, and I think that's Robert Schwartzman there. Ocon straight out of the Grand Prix, one of the Aston Martins into the back of him, and it's just absolute carnage behind them. A roadblock in this Grand Prix. George Russell's gone into it, and he's lost his front wing as well there. Ghosting's had to come in because coders don't, well, yeah, the game doesn't really know what to do, but carnage here in Baku, and we've got another safety car. George Russell has had to peel back in the pit lane, so he's having an absolute disaster at the moment. Then George Russell into last place of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. What a crazy race this one is turning out to be. It's absolutely turned this race on its head there. Oscar Piastri is up into P4 for AlphaTauri. Alex Albon in his Williams is up to P5. And then I'm trying to work out, I think it's Zhou Guanyu and Nicolas Latifi. They were who caused the first safety car, if I remember correctly. They're now up inside the points as well. This is just Baku doing Baku things.
There appears to be an issue. We're currently investigating.
No, that's not what we want to hear, Mark. We cannot have an engine failure when it looks like we could take 25 points out of our teammate.
Okay, looks like a mechanical failure. We're going to have to ask him.
I can't believe it.
Spot to retire.
I cannot believe it.
I repeat, find someone
That was in
to
the bag.
retire the car
I mean, we might have been under pressure from Ricciardo and Porcher, but that was in the bag. And from the lead of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix under safety car, it's over. It's done. 25 points down the drain. We would have absolutely retaken the championship lead here. That is heartbreaking. The safety car's gone. Everyone's having to catch back up to it. But we're out. It's over. The Azerbaijan Grand Prix, gone in a puff of smoke. Literally.
It's never an easy race here in Azerbaijan. There's drama around every corner, but they've come through to take a brilliant victory here today. Well, Anthony Davidson, a resounding victory today, but what set them apart from the rest?
Well, when you overtake that many people, I'd certainly hope you'd win the race. Their car was really effective in the slipstream here today, and the team would be pleased that they didn't cook the engine, given how long they were spending in the hot air behind other cars. They had a lot of confidence to push their tyres hard as well, especially going into the corners, which allowed for some late braking and some exciting passes.
Once again, it's podium time, and once again, it's a clear win for Alpine. The team have seen their fair share of success in Formula One, and today is proof that they've still got what it takes to thrill us all. Congratulations to everyone at Alpine. And now let's take a look at the driver's standings. That's a positive result for George Russell, who further solidifies his position at the top of the standings. Let's focus on the driver of the day, Anthony Davidson. Who do you pick?
It's got to be Lando Norris, hasn't it? Smooth, confident and assured. I've got no doubt that he and his team are going to be over the moon with his performance today.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. It was a tough race for our championship leaders, who lose ground at the top of the table. Meanwhile, Alpine move up the table with another strong performance this weekend. And with that, we wrap up another weekend of motorsport action. But with more races lined up, be sure to join us when we come back with more Formula One.
Well, could it be anyone else? Lando Norris, 16th on the grid there, comes home to take the victory in Azerbaijan. Zhou Guanyu P2 ahead of Charles Leclerc there. That was we only saw 16 laps of it, and it was still absolutely crazy here. Pierre Gasly finishes out ahead of Teo Porcher in the end. Latifi, Perez, Ricciardo somehow in 8th, ahead of Bottas and George Russell, so I can only assume that BAKU continue to do what BAKU does there. Oscar Piastri misses out on points there, and Albon somehow ended up down in P14. No other retirement, so just BAKU things, I guess, at the end of the day there. But that means championship-wise, the gap at the top opens up to 13 points there. Charles Leclerc once more re-jumps Esteban Ocon, who, just like myself, has seen two DNFs in the last 3 Grand Prix there. Lando Norris, though, back up into P6. He is the man to end the 2-1-2 Motorsport reign of dominance at the front of Formula 1 there. Perez down to 7th ahead of Daniel Ricciardo still. Further down the rostrum, Dan Ticktum on countback jumps Magnussen, Schumacher and Lance Stroll. And yeah, constructors-wise as well, Alpine now still tied with Red Bull, but back into P2 by virtue of that win. Both teams just 9 ahead of Ferrari as we leave Azerbaijan. But absolutely gutted with that result for ourselves. But nice to see Lando Norris back on top in the world of Formula 1 as well there. Thank you all so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure you leave a like, get yourself subscribed as well, and we will be back very, very soon with more F1 22. None of these videos would be possible without the help of our channel members, so a massive thank you to all of the names you see on your screens currently for helping support the channel. You can join them by clicking the join button down below, and yeah, thank you once again to everyone that continues all the insane support on my work.